Okay, well, hello, everyone who is here. Who do I see? Expose is here. Doug's here. The bride is here under an alias. So, hello and welcome. And oh, the dog is coming here as well. Hello, Sage. Say hello to the world, pretty girl. Yes, and no shock collar on her either, because I would not do that to you. No, I wouldn't. So, hello, and we got to stay away from my Slurpee though. That's the thing. Let's get that out of the way there. There we go, good girl. Um, so let's see, what do we got going on here? Rex is here as well. Won't be here for a long time though, because he's going to see a play based on Frankenstein. Nice, awesome. Well, I guess that works out then, because I was thinking like, should we do like a drive-in thing and watch Bela Lugosi meets a Brooklyn Gorilla? But if you're not even going to be here for a long time, there's really no point in doing that. So so let's see. Yeah, yeah, Queen. Yeah, I don't know if you know what I'm referencing with that comment, but yeah, shock crawlers are cruel. Um, just learn to work with your dog. That's what we advocate here at Monster Kid Cory. Is just learn how to work with your dog. So, let's see. What's the chat been up to here? Woo, spooky. Evening, hello, hello. Yeah, everybody's saying hello. Expose's been busy, but he's here now, so excellent. Glad you made it, Expose. Everybody doing French stuff here. Yeah, my boss almost always schedules me for Thursdays, so this will be a rare opportunity. Well, I'm glad that your boss let you have the day off, Doug. Um, and Queen's here. Um, Rex says we tease him like a dog. And Robot says greetings from Jupiter 2. Hello, El Santo. Welcome, welcome. So yeah, welcome to the Halloween haunt is really just a live stream. I don't have anything in particular special planned for tonight. Just decorated things up a bit different. My plan was to actually record from the new studio, but I don't know. I'm not satisfied with how it's coming together. So maybe that's just haven't got the dioramas fully made yet, or whatever, or whatnot, or this and that, and everything else. I've been feeling a bit of like, um, why do I collect? What am I collecting? All that sort of stuff lately as well. So that might have something to do with it. I just look at this mess of stuff and go like, so much stuff. But for some reason, not feeling very uh, satisfied with it. So I thought I'll just pop in here from the tiki room, from the well, not tiki, the pre World War II tropical escapist room. I had somebody try to challenge me today in a tiki group on no, nothing I don't like is tiki. So I blocked him from the tiki group I run, and whatever. But I gotta be careful, this isn't tiki room, right? But now I'm just babbling. So getting the groove on here for the stream. But I do have the pumpkins back here for Halloween, and I do have the other bride of Monster Kid. Actually, this is not the bride of Monster Kid. Her name is Elizabeth here, Elizabeth von Stat, um, because I have a tombstone that has that name on it. And no jokes, no nothing, just Elizabeth von Stat. So we found this ghost here, turned her into a bride, and she's Elizabeth now. She's going out tomorrow night for our first Halloween here at the new place. And we're going to be the cool house that gives away full-size chocolate bars, as well as little eyeball bouncy balls and glow-in-the-dark spiders and rubber worms and all sorts of fun stuff to go with the full-size chocolate bars. So we're going to be the cool house, even though the decorations themselves are fairly modest this year of a few tombstones and things like that. And, of course, Elizabeth flying out there. Let's see. El Santo Uncle Gilbert is here. Hello, Gil. Rex, I'm honest, I wouldn't have assumed Sage had a shot collar as you brought it up. Yeah, I was just mocking Hassan Piker there. His whole controversy right now with the shocking his dog because he's useless and only makes Twitch money because he's a himbo. Robots. You should look up Lost in Space merchandise. I sold Lost in Space merchandise when I had my store. I actually had the Lost in Space robot, like like an RC robot that does all the talking and everything. Has like sound clips and stuff. But yeah, so but I don't have any of that stuff myself, so I've never really gotten into Lost in Space yet, at least. Did you hear Kino Lorber is releasing a double feature Blu-ray of Grass and Chang? When it comes out, I will acquire it. Me too. Now I did not hear that, so that's awesome. I am definitely going to get that then. I've seen both of those movies, and Chang is all right. Like Grass is an early documentary, so it is what it is. But Chang is a pretty decent adventure story for what it is. Um, yeah, that the one I do need to see, the early Cooper movie that I do need to see still is Four Feathers. I sort of always like just kind of like glossed over that one, but unjustly so. So I really need to see his version of Four Feathers, part of the preamble to Kong. Um, I have a very weird question, but does Bugs Bunny technically fall under your definition of a god? Bugs Bunny is a trickster figure, but see, the thing is, what he can accomplish. I mean, it's cartoon logic in a cartoon world. So the question is, how unusual are his abilities, right? But as far as like the Thomistic definition of God is ipsum esse subsistens, no, Bugs Bunny would not qualify as that, but he would qualify as a trickster figure in most like world mythologies. So there you go. Um, I still watch Lost in Space on MeTV. Nice. Sage forgot her wings. Oh no. That's all right. She can actually lie down on the couch. We got her because she looks like a bat. Like she's black and she's got these big bat ears. We got her these bat wings to go with that, so she looks like a fruit bat. But she's discovered she can't actually like lie down on the couch with the wings on. So she doesn't have the wings on, but she is lying down on the couch right now. So good for her. Um, let's see. I was going to meet a fan queen. And will Cory be wearing the Kong mask? The Bride of Monster Kid actually mentioned that. I should have just appeared with the Kong mask on as well. Gil says I have a lot of neat stuff. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, this is the Kong stuff, which I had to rearrange to fit the pumpkins on the pumpkin. Where are they? Pumpkins on the shelf right there. But yeah, my the rest of my collection is in the studio room, which I'm again would have broadcast from, but I'm not really super satisfied with it. That's where I have like my NECA figures and McFarlane DC Multiverse figures of Golden Age heroes, my Disney collection, um, my Godzilla collection, Mothra collection, that sort of thing. Which I did get a few new Mothra items as well. So actually, might as well do the showing off of stuff I bought, right? This is one of my newest Kong items right here. So this is the Max Factory soft vinyl model kit, which I got off Buy, and it came unpainted, so I painted it up, and it's actually one of my favorite Kongs now because hard to see. Let's see if I can adjust that. His face is actually like a really good rendition of. It's more sort of like the round face Kong model. It was actually a really good rendition of him. Didn't realize how good it was until I painted him up, and then like, oh wow, it really came together. So, oh, now I'm all fuzzy. There we go. There we go. So that's one of my new things. And then I also got some Mothra stuff as well. I realized I'm wearing the microphone, so you can hear me no matter where I am now. So I finally sprang for a cheap microphone, so you guys can actually hear me. But yeah, I got a little like Mothra larva plush and a little Mothra larva soft vinyl as well recently. Let's see. The creators of King Kong were into grass. Not that kind of grass. No, the movie. I can't see. You're joking, but then I want to like follow up. The movie Grass is about nomadic herdsmen in the Levant. I can't remember exactly which group, but it's like Levant or like Afghanistan and that kind of thing. And basically, just how their life is dominated by having to ferry their animals around to where there's grass for those animals to eat and that sort of thing. Hence why it's called grass. I think the Four Feathers is free on YouTube now. Yeah, probably. I should, or at least somebody's uploaded it. So I should actually sit down and watch it sometime. The miniature car maker Johnny Lightning, basically Hot Wheels size, has a series of Lost in Space places. Ooh. Pieces of the robot, Jupiter 2, and the Chariot. Have my robot and Jupiter 2 in my collection. Nice. Isn't Bugs Bunny hosting the Super Bowl this year? I don't sports, so I could not tell you. Speaking of silent documentaries, have you seen The Nook of the North? I have seen The Nook of the North. I have indeed seen that. It's interesting. I mean, it is what it is, right? It's a documentary about Inuit people, fictionalized, of course, but it is. My actual favorite silent movie documentary, because it's of local interest, is this one called The Romance of the Far Fur Country. And it is a documentary about the Hudson's Bay Company, which was the big historical fur trading company here in Canada. It actually was the oldest corporation in the world, founded in 1670, and until like March was still around. But then in March, they went into creditor protection, sold off all the stores, sold off their IP to another Canadian company called Canadian Tire. And yeah, so I'm not sure if that counts now that they're a brand owned by another company. But it could not have come at a worse time for national morale. But no, for like 350 years, they were a dominant force in Canadian economics and nation building, colonialism, and cultural identity as well. And so this movie, filmed in like the 20s, shows like late 10s, early 20s, shows like the complete like Hudson's Bay Company fur trading operations, from the trappers out in the wilderness, the indigenous trappers capturing beaver furs and whatever else, and how they capture them, how they skin them, tan them, all that sort of stuff, to how they were brought to the fur trade posts, how they were then taken from the posts to the ports, the urban fur trading stores, like the full thing, like back to front, how the fur trade worked. It's absolutely fascinating movie for a Canadian, at least, who teaches history. So, Romance of the Far Fur Country is my favorite silent movie documentary. So confused. Got my dog a dinosaur costume as Dogzilla. Excellent. My favorite kaiju is Mechagodzilla. Nice. Well, I mean, you're a robot, so that would make sense for for Mechagodzilla to be your favorite. My favorite, I mean, I've done videos on this. My favorite kaiju is actually Mothra, like not counting King Kong, because King Kong I consider to be an American monster. He's an American giant monster, not a kaiju. Not that I'm willing to fight anybody over those definitions. The Japanese one you could argue is a kaiju, but anyways. So excluding Kong, my favorite like Japanese giant monster, Japanese kaiju, is Mothra, followed by Godzilla, followed by Mechakong, and then I think it's like Hedorah and like Biolante. But yeah. Affirmative. Nice Kong figure. Thank you. Love Mothra. Some of the characters in King Kong were based on the filmmakers themselves. Yes. Yeah, Carl Denham is sort of a stand-in for Merian C. Cooper himself, with a little bit of Schoedsack thrown in there, although Driscoll is more based on Schoedsack. But both Cooper and Schoedsack are in the movie as well. They are the pilots who give the killing blow to Kong. Well, Rex, I should have suggested this a lot earlier, but it would have been fun if you did a stream by room decorations for your studio. I'm sure I understand what the buy represents. When I have things up and going and I'm satisfied with it, I will definitely do room tours and stuff like that. Because our house is awesome. Our house is shaping up to be awesome. It's just also really messy right now because we're still moving in. And because it's a house we inherited, we still have to find room for our stuff around the stuff that was already here. So that's been challenging. But once I get my studio the way I like it, I'll definitely do a tour of that. Once we get the Tiki room, pre-World War II tropical escapist room, fully done the way I like it and not as messy. And we'll do a tour of that. Our library room is sort of New Orleans, Louisiana, sort of, I mean, really more so kind of like New Orleans Square Haunted Mansion themed. But one thing that even in our old place that the bride and I had agreed on was that Disney was a big influence on us, which makes it painful to see where Disney's gone in the last while. Um, but Disney was a big influence on us, and it was one of the things we first connected over and everything. So we wanted to have those references in our home, but we didn't want our home to just be like, here's Disney merchandise. It's blah. So we have a lot of stuff that's references to Disney, but not like just straight up Disney merchandise. And so the library is shaping up that way, where we do have some like Haunted Mansion merchandise, but it's stuff like um, Spirit Halloween's prop of the gargoyles from the stretching room, and their prop of the moving bus and that kind of thing. Those are in there along with other stuff, so it gives some of those impressions, those illusions, without just being like either a replica of the Haunted Mansion or just Haunted Mansion merchandise in the room. So that's where the library is going, and then the living room is actually sort of a Gothic revival-ish kind of thing. Because a lot of our furniture is actually from the Banff Springs Hotel, which is this giant like Scottish castle hotel in the Canadian Rocky Mountains. And the current owners of it are in the process of vandalizing it and modernizing it, because when you go to a castle in the mountains, of course you want like IKEA furniture, right? Well, excuse me. So they're auctioning off a lot of furniture and stuff like that, so we're buying it. So our living room is looking like how the Banff Springs Hotel used to look, which is very Gothic revival sort of stuff, by way of like East Lake, if you're familiar with the styles. So yeah. Anyways, but once those are sort of along to my satisfaction, that I feel like I want to show it off, then yeah, for sure we'll be doing like a room tour, house tour, that kind of thing. Ernest Shostak was the real Carl Denham. Denham was more based on Cooper. Driscoll was more based on Shostak. Plush larva Mothra sounds adorable. You know what? I should just go get her. Hold on a sec. Okay, excuse me, Elizabeth. All right, into the studio. Which shelf did I put her on now? All right. Here. All right. Not sure if my microphone actually reached all the way there, but here's soft vinyl Mothra, which we joke, it looks like he wants uppies. Pick me up, uppies. So, soft vinyl Mothra larva, which came in a box that was like that big, like by that big. It was like, when I opened, I thought this thing was going to be like, at least like that, but no, it's just a little soft vinyl of Mothra. And then here's the Mothra larva plush, right here. So this also came in that same Bayou shipment, along with the T-Rex figure, or the Kong figure by Max Factory. But yeah, this is the little larval Mothra plushie to go with my Imago form, moth form Mothra plushies. So I've even got a little string there to hang them up by. So yes, Mothra larvae, which usually I'm not as fond of, but when they're cute enough, I'll grab a couple, sure. So my Mothra collection is growing, but I'm not planning for the Mothra collection to get out of hand. Not like this. I don't need like every Mothra thing. Just when Mothra things pop up, it's like, that's cute. I'll get that. Let's see. Where were we? Plush Mothra. I wonder if Charlie was based on anyone. Not really. Charlie was actually a late addition to the script as well. In the book, that character is Lumpy, which is who Andy Serkis played in the 2005 Kong. But that actor plays essentially that same character in like every movie he's in. So there you go. What's your favorite movies for Halloween that aren't horror movies? Hmm. Um, that's a challenging question because it's like, I mean, most of the time I'm watching horror movies, anyways. Um, and I don't really have any like seasonal type one. Like anything seasonal I watch is still in that vein. My biggest Halloween tradition, which we'll have to do tomorrow because I haven't done it yet, is watching Disney stuff. So when I was a kid, the every year, like Wonderful World of Disney Halloween night, they would show the 1977 version of Disney's Greatest Villains, which had Hans Conried, so the voice of Captain Hook, Hans Conried, and Snidely Whiplash as well. He played the Magic Mirror, and he would introduce these clips of villains from Disney movies and talk about like how important the villains are and how there'd be no story without the villains. And this this showing, they'd show Disney's Greatest Villains. They'd also show a package of cartoons like Lonesome Ghosts and Trick or Treat, that sort of thing, Disney cartoons, and then Legend of Sleepy Hollow. And so every year I have like this ritual. I have to watch Trick or Treat, Lonesome Ghosts, Legend of Sleepy Hollow, and Night on Bald Mountain, Fantasia. That's just like my Halloween tradition. I have to do it because for me, Disney kind of owns that headspace for Halloween. Rankin Bass owns the headspace for Christmas. I mean, well, Jesus, but secular Christmas type stuff. The Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I have to watch that every year, and then there might be a couple other of the Christmas specials that I'll also watch, but every year it has to be at least Rudolph. I have to watch that. Um, so so I guess it depends if you count Disney's Legend of Sleepy Hollow as a horror movie or not. Um, I mean, otherwise, I don't really have any seasonal type ones that I watch. Um, everything else is just horror movies. But then I watch horror movies like year round, right? So it's not like, oh, it's October, I have to watch Dracula or something. The only one I do that with is Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Um, all hands on deck, everybody. Yeah, F.W. Murnau, director of Nosferatu and the director of Nanook of the North, made a documentary together called Taboo. Yes, they did. I have a copy of it down. No, I have an actual physical copy of it. Joseph Flaherty, was it? Yeah. Did Nanook of the North. Am I confusing him with the guy that? No, it is Flaherty. I can't remember his first name. Um, oh my god, that's gonna bother me now. Because Joe Flaherty is the guy that played Count Floyd on SCTV. um, Robert Flaherty. God. There's only like two Flahertys that have headspace for me, so it's that guy and Joe Flaherty. But yes, Taboo, which is Taboo isn't exactly a documentary. It is a fictionalized film about basically this Tahitian dude who keeps running afoul of colonial law. Um, and um, it has a documentary character to it, and then it's authentic settings and authentic people and that sort of thing. But it's a fictionalized story around it. So where to go? Um, uh, excuse me. They made Mechagodzilla a good guy when they renamed him Kiryu. Yes, Kiryu is like my second favorite version of Mechagodzilla. My first favorite version of Mechagodzilla is Ready Player One Mechagodzilla. Um, this is for aesthetics, but Kiryu is like my favorite, like proper Godzilla movie version of Mechagodzilla. 1931, Toho had so many cool monsters. Correct. A stream where we pick room decorations for your studio. My bad. No worries. A stream where you pick the decorations for my studio. So you decide what goes where? I'm not sure about that one. Is the MonsterVerse in danger now that Warner Bros. Is being sold? Probably not. The MonsterVerse itself is owned by Legendary Pictures, um, and there was like distribution with Warner Brothers, and that there was like some issues around that when Warner Brothers tried to drop, so especially Godzilla X Kong on HBO Max, and Legendary's like, wait, what? We didn't say you could do that. So there were some issues there. But so no, Legendary owns the MonsterVerse. Warner Brothers distributes it. So I don't think there's really a problem. Um, and if Warner Brothers wasn't going to do it anymore, I can't see another studio passing that up. Like, I'm sure Paramount or um, like Amazon MGM or even Disney might be willing to pick up the MonsterVerse for distribution. Like, it's while the MonsterVerse movies aren't like super duper blockbusters like Avengers, they are like reasonably profitable enough to keep making. So I can't see anybody really passing them up, especially in current Hollywood where everything is bombing. To have at least like a series that's like modestly popular enough is pretty good. I would just be worried about like if Disney were to pick it up, like please don't mess it up. Like just leave it alone. Let Legendary keep doing their thing. As it is, the MonsterVerse is like pretty mixed. Like it's bad movie, good movie, bad movie, good movie. Um, but yeah, it's just certain studios have lost my trust as far as their ability to make a watchable movie. Um, MonsterVerse part of Warner Brothers? Yeah, not really. They're owned by Legendary. Yeah, which Angel said Warner was a partner in MonsterVerse films. I think my second favorite kaiju has got to be Hedorah, the smog monster. Both the monster and film are absolutely horrifying. Yes. Um, Hedorah, Godzilla vs. Hedorah is one of my favorite Showa films. Um, like if we're talking just Showa era, it would be the original Godzilla, um, Invasion of Astro Monster, Destroy All Monsters, and Hedorah would be my favorites. And again, and that's just the Godzilla movies for the Showa era. It gets a little mixed up if we also include like King Kong Escapes and Atragon and other non-Godzilla movies. Um, yeah, Hedorah is fascinating. Hedorah is one of the cooler monsters for sure. Um, because so many of the monsters are just like, well, let's take a different looking dinosaur and make a enemy out of it, or let's make like a three-headed dragon thing. Whereas Hedorah is like it's just a blob of pollution, and the movie itself is so trippy. Like you can see how Destroy All Monsters was supposed to be the last Godzilla movie, and then it did successfully enough that they did All Monsters Attack, which really exhausted the old format. So then when they went into the 70s, they're like, well, let's try something really different. And versus Hedorah is a very different movie from any other Godzilla movie, just in terms of like its sort of psychedelic sort of atmosphere and its use of music and how it delivers satire and its weird little animated vignettes and all sorts of stuff like that. It's even got like different music. Like it's not just the this singing the song about cadmium and whatever, but even like the classic Godzilla theme, dun 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 dun. Like that's not in versus Hedorah. Like it's totally different vibe in it. So it's such a weird movie and so different from the other Godzilla movies of the era that it's hard not to be fascinated by it. Plus, yeah, like Hedorah is horrific as a monster because it's like you see other movies. It's like you see the mass destruction. Um, in fact, with Ghidorah, even like you don't even really see like people suffering. You see cities get destroyed and stuff like that, but Ghidorah is mostly harmless to humans. Um, whereas like in versus Hedorah, like you see people getting killed. Like That one construction worker, he falls through Hedera and a skeleton lands on the ground. Like, oh god, oh, and you see like people die from the smog and then dissolve and stuff like that. Like Hedora is a very personal body horror kind of kaiju as well. So yeah, definitely up there for favorite kaiju of mine, and favorite Showa era movies. So if WWE gets sold, does it affect them? I mean, maybe not. Depends if whoever buys Warner Brothers wants to keep the MonsterVerse going or not. Which I think it would be foolish not to. Um, the MonsterVerse is made by Legendary, which is a subsidiary of Warner Brothers, which is owned by Discovery. Discovery also owns Hunting Bigfoot, meaning a crossover of the two is possible. Thanks, Rex. So Monster was pretty scary for a kids' film. It's The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Oh yeah, there we go. Love Legend of Sleepy Hollow. I do watch that Disney special every other year. My yearly one is Garfield, though. Nice. Rankin Bass also made Mad Monster Party. Correct. That one, yeah, like you can see Mad Monster Party as Rankin Bass's attempt to do a Halloween special because they dominated Christmas, and technically Jack Frost is a Groundhog Day movie, and Rudolph's Big Shiny New Year is a New Year's movie. So you can see Mad Monster Party as their attempt at a Halloween movie. And if it had actually been released as a television show, it might have got to that point and might have become that Halloween tradition. But instead, they chose to draw it out with a bunch of unnecessary sequences and release it to theaters. And I think that kind of killed that momentum of it as a holiday movie. And it just became kind of like this weird, obscure, kind of like goofy, groovy, mid-century monster kitsch movie. But that said, I would be something I thought actually maybe I should do just for shits and giggles. Is edit out the unnecessary scenes because like they obviously added in the scene in the kitchen and the scene of Yetch with the zombies in the aerodrome, whatever, the hangar where they're keeping all the flying machines. They obviously added those two scenes in there to expand the runtime. And then they also, the pacing, a lot of it is kind of not that great. Like, there's a good like half a minute of it swooning over the photo of Francesca. And it's like, this scene's going on a bit long. So I'm guessing they probably, again, drew that out to expand the runtime to make it a feature film. So if somebody could go in and edit these things and bring Mad Monster Party down to like a tight like hour or whatever it's really supposed to be, 45 minutes, whatever. It'd probably be a better movie overall, even. I was thinking like Beetlejuice and Ghostbusters type stuff. Okay. Well, again, is Beetlejuice and Ghostbusters, are they more comedy or more horror? I suppose. Well, I mean, in that vein, I don't know. Like, there's been more than a few Halloweens and Halloween parties where I brought along a copy of Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein because it's such an accessible movie because it is a horror comedy, um, and it's playing with the archetypes of the characters. It's not like developing a story. So I mean, that's a pretty good go-to Halloween party movie. I tried doing a Halloween party with Mad Monster Party, and that's where I discovered that it's not a good party movie, ironically enough, because the pacing is so off. But Count Floyd was great. Yeah, we were actually watching some Count Floyd stuff on YouTube the other night. This is the one where they didn't have the movie, so he has to describe it. That was pretty good. And always, as always, Dr. Tongue's 3D House of whatever pancakes, 3D House of Stewardesses, whatever. He should have had his own show, Queen. Well, he was on. Count Floyd was on Completely Mental Misadventures of Ed Grimley as well, but it's now as an adult though. Like as a kid, I was oh, Count Floyd is funny, haha. But now as an adult, one of the things I recognize with Count Floyd is that in the context of SCTV, because SCTV, the TV show itself, is supposed to be like this this very poorly run television station. And so Floyd is the same Floyd who's the news anchor, and he's so it's like Joe Flaherty is pretending to be the news anchor, pretending to be a horror host. Um, so seeing that context makes it even funnier to me now as an adult. But anyone remember when Grandpa Munster became a horror host? I don't remember that, but I know that was in uh, Gremlins 2, right, where he was playing a horror host who wanted to be a respectable journalist. Super Scary Saturday. Oh, I used to watch it on TBS. So okay, so then in Gremlins 2, is that based on his actual like he actually was a horror host? Because I didn't know that part. I watched King of Jazz from 1930. It was a good film, by the way, and now I am obsessed with Paul Whiteman. Fair enough. Paul Whiteman's arrangements by Ferde Grofa are great, and the version Ferde Grofa, composer, composed, in my opinion, one of the most beautiful pieces of classical music, which is the Grand Canyon Suite, which is a beautiful oral soundscape of the Grand Canyon, which is a place that I love. And Paul Whiteman, of course, did the original recordings of it because Ferde Grofa worked for Paul Whiteman. And I have a recording of like the original Paul Whiteman version of the Grand Canyon Suite, because most versions of it you're used to. It's like a full symphonic arrangement of it, whereas a Paul Whiteman one, it's a big band arrangement of it. So it's a lot of like the brass jazz instruments and that kind of thing, which I really like. So yeah, look up the Paul Whiteman Grand Canyon Suite. It's a good one. Also, they did the Mississippi Suite as well, which is Freddie Grofa's as well. Um, I was more thinking we'd send you Amazon links and there'd be a price limit of like $500. As long as you send me the money, then okay. If you send me the money as well as the Amazon link, then we can try that. But I am not I am not in a position to be buying stuff off of Amazon just because you guys told me to. Godzilla vs. Kong did surprisingly well during the pandemic. Yeah. I was actually a bit miffed insofar as theaters weren't open again here when that came out. So we ended up having to stream it. But then it was not very good. So, is what it is. Godzilla vs. Kong is not my favorite MonsterVerse movie. It's not the worst, but it's not my favorite by any stretch. Pretty sure everything Disney acquires turns to rust. Nowadays it does, that's for sure. Hetero scared me as a kid. Smog Monster was one of the first movies about environmentalism. Yeah. Watching Squid people just dissolve. Yeah. Didn't the director of Smog Monster get fired by Toho? Probably. I don't know. It wasn't well received. Now that the one War of the Worlds movie with Ice Cube has been out for a few months, I can say that it misses the entire point of the original book and its original adaptation. Yeah. I have not seen that. That doesn't surprise me though, because the previous version of War of the Worlds was also nonsense, the Tom Cruise one. I There was like the low budget one that was actually set in the Victorian era. I wanted to like it, but it was so bad that I just couldn't. Alas. No, I think still the best version of War of the Worlds is the Orson Welles broadcast, which was tonight on October 30th. It was the anniversary of the Orson Welles War of the Worlds broadcast. That is still, in my opinion, the best adaptation. Not a film, of course, obviously, but still the best adaptation. The 50s movie is okay, but still like Irwin Allen 50s disaster movie more so than like sort of the peak Victorian sort of social commentaries and stuff. Always watch Abbott and Sally Frankenstein on Halloween. Good choice. Sadly, Bad Monster Party is largely forgotten today. I know. That sucks. I think again, partly it's so obscure. If it had been seen on television, it might have become a holiday special, holiday legend like Rudolph. Um, and I think the fact that it has have those pacing problems kind of undoes it a bit. But if like a NECA or a JADA were to make a line of Mad Monster Party figures, I 100% would buy them. Mad Monster Party still fills that niche of like mid-century monster kitsch, monster cool. Like that's sort of the example I would show people of like what mid-century monster kitsch was about, in terms of like taking these characters, putting them in these humorous sort of friendly frenemy sort of situations, and having like that groovy soundtrack and stuff like that. Um, yeah. All the previous adaptations and in the original book, the Martians are killed by forces we cannot control, while in the new one, the humans are able. Oh, what? Then it's not War of the Worlds anymore. That's like at least the one thing you need to have to make it War of the Worlds, is that it's not humans that save the day. Oh God. Um, that said, in the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen comic, humans did engineer the virus. So, um, let's see. Described as a cult item. Yeah, Mad Monster Party is definitely a cult film. Rankin Bass also had Easter Special. Easter Bunny's Coming to Town with Fred Astaire as the host narrator. Yeah, I didn't like Easter Bunny's Coming to Town because it was such a transparent copy of Santa Claus is Coming to Town, right down to Fred Astaire, like the same character is in it. But Peter Cottontail is the other um, stop motion Easter special that Rankin Bass had. And Peter Cottontail is great, if for no other reason than it has Vincent Price as the villain, January Q Irontail. And I actually have a figure of him in the studio. Yeah, the Peter Cottontail one's great. The Easter Bunny's Coming to Town is, it exists. It does not have the ending on how humans are ultimately powerless. It says, actually, we can do this, and misses the point entirely of the original book. Yeah. It was their version of King Kong. Yeah. A&C Meet Frankenstein is a classic, correct? A lot of good comedians came out of SCTV. Yes, like pretty much everyone who went through SCTV is like legendary. Like John Candy, Joe Flaherty, Martin Short, Eugene Levy, um, Rick Moranis. Um, like everybody who came through there is legendary, either like in comedy in general or at least in Canadian comedy. The character in Gremlins 2 is definitely based on Al Lewis's grandpa. Okay. Al Lewis was going to appear in Gremlins 2, but became ill. Oh, okay, so that's not actually him. Okay. Joe Dante was a fan. I dragged my family to like 3 cities away to see GVK in theaters. Nice. And it's really hard, especially to find a theater big enough for a whole bunch of dinosaurs to fit in there, right? Like that's not no small feat either. Why would they remake War of the Worlds with Ice Cube? That is a good question. This is also my grandpa's birthday. Wow. Happy birthday to your grandpa. Monster Party has an amazing voice cast, correct? Yeah. Especially like Paul Frees, Boris Karloff. Yeah. Back in the 90s, a local access station replayed the Orson Welles presentation of War of the Worlds with a guy acting out how some rando dude might have reacted to the broadcast. Yeah. I actually have a book that like dissects what happened that night. It's actually really interesting. So what happened is that anybody who was listening to the broadcast from the beginning knew it was a dramatization, because there's a whole intro section. But most listeners that evening were actually listening to Charlie McCarthy show on a different channel. And then it was about 11-minute mark or something like that. Nelson Eddy begins performing on Charlie McCarthy. So a large part of the audience changed the channel to Mercury Theater on the Air, which is right at the moment when the Martians start attacking. When they come out of the tube, out of the meteorite, and start attacking everybody. That's when most listeners who panicked tuned in. They missed all of the beginning part, and apparently most people figured it pretty quickly. It was just a drama, but there were those people who freaked out. But interviews with the people who freaked out Most of them said that they thought it was actually the Nazis attacking, that it wasn't a Martian invasion, it was a Nazi invasion. This is 1939. World War One had already, or two, sorry, World War Two had already begun for the British Empire and Nazi Germany and stuff. Americans didn't come into World War One until 1941. World War Two, sorry, God, didn't come into World War Two until 1941. So yeah, most of the people who panicked thought it was a Nazi invasion, not a Martian invasion. But yeah, either way, very interesting stuff. But yeah, if you get the Complete War of the Worlds is a great book if you can find it, because it has the original novel with the original illustrations. It has the script for the radio show. It has a CD with the radio show on it, and it has essays talking about the book, the radio show, other adaptations, film adaptation, and so on. If you can get the Complete War of the Worlds, it's a great book. I mean, Mad Monster Party isn't super obscure. It has a bigger following than Rankin Bass's Smokey the Bear Thanksgiving special. That's true. Yeah, it's probably the like maybe third best known, fourth best known Rankin Bass special. So you've got Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, Year Without a Santa Claus, and Mad Monster Party for stop motion. If you include traditional animation, then Frosty the Snowman is like second to Rudolph. And was it Jada? Jada made a Frosty figure as well. That I wasn't super interested in getting, but I'm kind of like, should I just support the line and see if they do Rudolph or not? But and then Smokey the Bear, which I just like because Smokey the Bear is cool. So, what a coincidence that Martians didn't test the atmosphere. I forgot about Peter Cottontail and Iron Tail. Yeah. Peter Cottontail is also great because it's an insane time travel story. Yeah, with the French caterpillar as well. Yeah, yeah. Peter Cottontail is insane, and as you might have guessed by now, the more insane the story, the more I like it. So, you have to know how hard it is to find a dinosaur-friendly theater. Yeah. Have you seen Chainsaw Man or Demon Slayer or any of the anime that's playing in theaters right now? I have not. I haven't been to theaters recently. The last things I saw in theaters were Superman and Fantastic Four. I haven't paid too close attention to the anime showings and stuff like that, or the classic movie showings even. We've just been so busy and with the house and everything. It's been difficult to remember to look at what's playing. So unfortunately, I have not. Anime is making a comeback recently, yes, because anime is actually good, unlike Hollywood. He's 71 this year. Wow, congratulations. A lot of people believed there was life on Mars at one time. Correct. In fact, I think I mentioned this before. I've back from when I was like running my Victorian science fiction blog, I've published like 4 volumes of Victorian science fiction on Amazon. If you look them up, you can find them. I actually have enough material for 2 books specifically on stories about Mars and Venus, like the Victorians on Mars and the Victorians on Venus. I've been tempted to revisit it and publish those, but like I can count the number of copies of my previous books that have sold on like one hand. So I'm not like chomping at the bit to get on making those books. More so, I'd be making them for myself, my own benefit, so I could buy it and have a hard copy of these stories sitting on my shelf. But let's see. I love Chainsaw Man because it's literally just gory Ultraman. Nice. There were stories that canals had been discovered on the surface of Mars. Yeah. Yeah, it was an optical illusion. Percival Lowell. Well, no, it was. Well, Percival Lowell did write books saying that he thinks Mars was inhabited, and the Lowell Observatory in Flagstaff, Arizona, was originally built in his quest to prove there's life on Mars. But the lines themselves, the canali, were originally seen by Giovanni Schiaparelli. And they ended up just being optical illusion. They were just like land features and stuff, but because the resolution of his telescope was so low, they just kind of bled into a line. But he never said they were like man-made canals. He said they were like canali, just like canyons or lines, basically. That kind of got taken by English speakers in a whole other direction. Um, my condolences for Superman. I enjoyed Superman. Um, it wasn't particularly deep, but I enjoyed it just as like this wacky, very 80s style adventure. Like it did remind me a lot of like the DC comics I grew up with in the 80s, like Justice League International and stuff like that. It helped it had Guy Gardner in it, but had very much that tone about it, like 1980s sort of like Justice League International comedy DC kind of thing. Um, I enjoyed it. I'll see the sequel if it's still being made. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's different. It's a different take. Superman's been around a long time. Superman can have lots of different takes. So the Floptastic Four was anything to celebrate about either. I enjoyed that, but not as much as Superman. I genuinely enjoyed Superman. Um, Fantastic Four was charming, but I wasn't. I didn't come out like super duper excited about the future prospects. Maybe a lot of it because it's like, oh, this is just gonna. I would see more Fantastic Four movies if they took place in that universe. There's like retro futuristic universe. Um, but if the Fantastic Four are just gonna go into the MCU, then it's like, don't care. Um, it's not the characters I was really in love with. It was the world that they created for them. If you made another book, I'd buy it. Well, that gives me something to consider. It was actually a mistranslation. Canali means channel, but it was assumed to mean canal. Yep. Superman was made by a clown. James Gunn. Yeah, I know. Different tastes, right? See, I liked Christopher Reeve Superman. I liked the Man of Steel. I like James Gunn Superman. Um, I like the Fleischer Superman. It's I can do different versions of Superman. It's okay. Um, Nobody knows how to make a good movie anymore. That is true. Um, there are some good movies that come out, although apparently we're debating about what counts as a good movie. But yeah, it's not. They're sort of. They feel like they're few and far between, at least, for movies that seem like they're worth spending time on. Um, which is what it is. Um, I don't know. I I mean, I've been famously cynical about modern Hollywood. So the fact that I even saw Fantastic Four, I don't even like Marvel in particular. Like I'm more of a DC guy, so I like the DC heroes. Um, Marvel is not really my thing. There's a couple Marvel things that I liked, like the first season of Daredevil is like really good. Um, Captain America, the Winter Soldier, almost felt like a real movie. Um, So it's a miracle I saw Fantastic Four. If Fantastic Four wasn't set in that like retro futuristic sort of thing, I wouldn't have seen it. Mm. Oh, nothing's coming out. It's frozen. But it was the idea of the retro futuristic setting. That's what I wanted to see with Fantastic Four. Ah, my Slurpee straw is destroyed. Um, so sorry if the slurping is. I'm not sure how what that comes across on the microphone. Um, uh, yeah. Fantastic Four was so cheap that they didn't want to show Reed stretching. Yeah, I can see that. It it was kind of fun. I liked how they did the Thing. That was cool. And I think that's such an interesting hero because he's such a like. Why would you think of like just this big orange rock dude as the Thing? Um, it's not a very obvious sort of character to make. Um, and okay, cool. Got to see Galactus. I would have preferred if I was writing the MCU, I would have made Galactus like the Thanos of the next wave, sort of thing. So then, like all of the Avengers and the X-Men and everybody else has to gang up to fight Galactus. But hey, at least having Galactus in this movie means this movie's kind of self-contained. I'd almost, actually, despite what you guys are saying, be tempted to actually pick up a copy of Fantastic Four, knowing that it's just an isolated movie. I don't even have to pay attention to anything else in the MCU. It's just like, yay, all right, just one Fantastic Four movie, and that's it. Great, good. Um, but yeah, there's a lot more they could have done with Reed and his stretching abilities. But that's why we need a Plastic Man movie, right? What's my opinion on the DCAU? Um, Depends which one you're talking about. Because I was around for the one that was Batman the Animated Series, then Superman, then Justice League Unlimited, which I enjoyed that one a lot. I mean, Batman the Animated Series itself is just classic. Stupid straw. The Slurpee's lost cause. Then there's like the second one that was the Batman and Teen Titans and Legion of Superheroes, like that, and that was okay. I wasn't as into it. But I do like Teen Titans Go, weirdly enough. Everybody else hates it, but I find it quite funny. I don't know if you mean like the movie series, like the whole, which they keep resetting all the time, anyways, with like Flashpoint and everything. I haven't actually seen a lot of those direct-to-video movies, so I can't really judge whether or not they're good. But I will say that overall, in the general balance, DC seems to do a lot better job at animation. If you want to see like these big epic, true to form versions of these heroes, go to the animated stuff. Go to Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series, Justice League, Teen Titans, The Batman. Um, all that stuff seems to DC really owns it there. Definitely more so than Marvel does. Both box office flops. Oh, where were we? Yeah, I'm not sure we know what a good movie looks like anymore. Yeah. I like both Fantastic Four and Superman. The complete turnaround from the more recent dark and brooding is better. Film making was a delight. Yeah. Yeah, in fact, I've said, I think I've said on stream, but I will say again. I actually don't care if they put Batman into this James Gunn DC universe. Batman, we've seen so many versions of him. And even the most recent one, like The Batman, the darkest possible Batman, black on black Batman, was good. I enjoyed it. It was a good movie. You could put that in the DCU there with James Gunn's DCU. But why? If you did another version of Batman, it would have to be more like the Justice League version of Batman, even more sort of like the Adam West version of Batman, like Batman Brave and the Bold, like that cartoon, which I also enjoyed. Like more of like sort of comic version of Batman, where you can play up that like Batman is all like dark and brooding and everything, but then he's got this totally wacky crap going on all around him. You can do that, but yeah, there's room for the dark and brooding and gritty and everything. But there's also room for sort of like bright and funny and sincere. And that's actually maybe the thing I was most surprised with Superman is that you could think, oh, James Gunn, this is going to be like very cynical and whatever, but actually it was a very sincere movie about Superman's being who he is and being where he's from and what his identity is and choosing what kind of person he's going to be and that kind of thing. It's a very sincere movie, surprisingly, from James Gunn. Both box office flops, both Marvel and DC struck out. Yeah, Superman was supposed to save everything, right? I disagree. Good movies come out nearly monthly. You just need to pay attention to indie international films. Yeah, that is fair. They wasted Galactus as a villain. Yeah, I will say that. Rex has to go. Bye, Rex. You probably went a while ago already, but bye. Alexa was defeated so easily. Well, he wasn't technically defeated. He was just chased away. Maybe we'll get Starro as a villain in Justice League film. Um, well, I mean, he was in Suicide Squad, so and Suicide Squad is kind of canon. Here's the thing, like it wouldn't be a DC reboot if it made any sense. So, like, is Suicide Squad canon or not? Like, it's kind of canon because the events that happen in it are referenced later on, like Rick Flag Sr., um, Peacemaker 2, Season 2, um, retconned the end of Peacemaker 1, so it's the Justice Gang instead of the Justice League in it, and that sort of thing. Um, so it's like the events are kind of from Suicide Squad are kind of canon in the new DCU, but I don't know. Whatever. Some DC animated films haven't been that great lately. Because Teen Titans Go is absolutely bonkers. And as you've said, the more insane, the better. Yes, Teen Titans Go is bonkers, and I love it. I even have like The Night Begins to Shine like on my playlist in the car. So, um, it'd probably ruin Batman if James Gunn goes anywhere near it. Yeah, Uncle Gilbert, I managed to miss the Suicide Squad movies. Alas, now I've got to check them out. Some of the stuff that works in comics wouldn't translate well in cinematic form. Correct. I kind of felt sorry for Starro in Suicide Squad. Yeah. Um, yeah. The problem with Suicide Squad was just that like you're introducing the villains before you're introducing the heroes. Like Suicide Squad would work as like a wave 3 or 4, maybe 5 DC movie where you actually have some villains that can go into Suicide Squad. Trying to do a movie about the villains before you've even introduced the heroes is like, what are you thinking? Um, but um, yeah, I think regardless of that, I think for a James Gunn Batman, it would have to be like Batman Brave and the Bold style, like sort of the the comedy is the insanity that surrounds Batman, and he himself is just like a slightly over the top version of him, like slightly amplified. His hammers of justice and stuff like that. But yeah, more of that Justice League inspired as opposed to like Robert Pattinson, blackest possible Batman. There we go. Finally got some Slurpee out of this thing. Harley Quinn was a girl boss in Suicide Squad. She was indestructible. That's the other thing. Like I get wanting to capitalize on Harley's popularity, but Harley Quinn herself isn't an interesting character. Harley Quinn works best as the Joker's henchwoman. Um, like I don't find Harley that interesting on her own. She's a good foil for others' characters, and seeing how Batman reacts to her, and Robin reacts to her, and Joker reacts to and uses her, and that sort of thing. Um, Same thing like Jack Sparrow, for example, in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. He himself is not an interesting character. Um, so making him the focus of a movie is really boring. But he's a really good foil for the other characters. He's a really good foil for Will Turner. He's a really good foil for Barbossa, for Elizabeth, for all these other characters. Norrington. He's a super good foil. It's just that he got really popular because he was really good as a foil. So then they made the next bunch of movies all about him, and they're kind of lame because he's not an interesting character on his own. Same thing with Harley Quinn. She's not really that interesting on her own. So making her the center of it is kind of lame. And and we just shall not talk about Joker of Folie à Deux, which was indeed a folly. She even swam in Starro's bloodstream. Yeah, no oxygen tanks. Yep. Going to make the stream. Excellent. We're welcome, welcome, Hat. Glad you could make it, and I hope that this uplifts your week. Don't like how every woman is a Mary Sue now with no vulnerabilities. Yeah. Um, it's like that's not good storytelling. Mary Sues aren't good storytelling. And even like good actresses know that. Like Emily Blunt. Emily Blunt? Yeah. She said how she will turn down a script that describes a character as a strong female character. She's like, that's boring. I want a flawed female character. I want an interesting female character. I want a female character with struggles she has to overcome. I don't want just like this blandly generic girl boss. Um, yeah, so agreed, and hopefully we're going to see a move away from that to more nuanced female characters. I like female characters. I want to see female characters, but I want to see them nuanced and human and relatable. So, um, back for a bit longer. Yay, Rex is back. What to do? They even don't hire attractive actresses anymore. Yeah, there is that. There is that. Yeah, it's well. I mean, the question is, can Hollywood recover itself now that sort of the winds of political change are blowing? Um, can Hollywood bring it back around and steer this ship back, not to like the right wing, but just to like more accessible populist entertainment, stuff that everybody can watch from across the political spectrum and enjoy and get something out of and relate to. And we'll see. We'll see if that's even possible anymore. I know one thing I find very satisfying is that it must be killing Disney inside to have to pretend to be patriotic again. Like I saw the announcements for their Soarin' Over America thing, and they're trying to pretend to be patriotic again. It's like that just must be killing them inside, and I'm here for it. I'm here to watch them die inside, having to pretend to be patriotic. I'm not even American, and I find that entertaining. So, the downside with popular foil characters is that they need someone to bounce off of to work. But when given the spotlight, that rarely happens. Correct? Yep, exactly. Yeah, so like Harley, Jack Sparrow. I'm trying to think of some others. That there's some other characters that don't work on their own. Yeah, whatever. Doesn't matter. They're avoiding the male gaze. Yeah, at least that's what they call it. Yeah. No, well, activists are running the studios. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Um, for me, as far as I am concerned personally, Hollywood could stop making movies tomorrow and I would not even notice. Like, if I didn't see, like, YouTube videos about Hollywood is dead, Hollywood's over, I wouldn't even notice. Um, I would just be contented with my old movies. The thing that I would miss is if all the movie theaters shut down, the chances of seeing, bye dog, the chances of seeing um, classic movies on the big screen. I would miss that. So I would miss, the chance to see Casablanca again, or Gone with the Wind again, or whatever on the big screen. But right now, they're not even showing them. So whatever. It almost makes me want to buy a movie theater just to like have a place where I can watch old movies. Um, but as far as like modern Hollywood, yeah, no, they could stop making movies tomorrow. I wouldn't even notice. A lot of unhinged actors on social media attacking the audience. Yep, yeah. See how that works out for them. We're going great so far. When when Doctor Who tells fans to go touch grass and they do, and then the show gets canceled. Yeah, yeah, worked out for you. I mean, looking at how Trump is reacting to television, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes after Hollywood next. Well, the Don wants to go after a lot of things, doesn't he? Including my country. So the tariffs are going to hurt Hollywood. Yeah, well, I mean, oh, it is the bride with a straw. Thank you. Seeing my struggles with this poor dilapidated straw. 7-Eleven straws. I hate paper straws so much. And I live on the prairies. What turtle am I trying to protect? But just gotta throw this in the garbage. Hold on a sec. Where is it? There it is. Back. All right. Yeah, well, it tariffs hurting Hollywood. Yeah, I mean, just think how much production is done in Canada, even. Um, as I tell people on my tours when we talk about Calgary and interesting things about Calgary, is that if you're watching a movie or a TV show and it takes place in like the most generic city, like the most generic possible city, you cannot identify stores or architecture or anything or a location. It's just like city. It's probably Toronto or Vancouver. If it takes place in the American Midwest, it's probably Calgary. um, and I could list off a whole bunch of stuff that's been filmed here. But like, yeah, a ton of filming is done in Vancouver, Toronto, or Calgary, and all that gets tariffed now. So how's that going to work out for Hollywood? Will the tariffs offset the tax breaks that they get by making films here? Yeah, I know the goal is to get that production back in the USA, but like, there are some things you can do easier elsewhere. So, definitely affect productions overseas. Yep. Also, I don't think it's bad for a film to have firm political views. Plus, in America, we are kind of stuck between fascism and naivety. Well, I do have a spicy political meme that I've posted now and then on Facebook and stuff like that. But about what the two extremes of American politics are. But yeah, I don't see. Here's the thing. Like, I actually agree with the argument that everything is political. I would actually agree with that because everything is produced from a point of view, from a standpoint, from a value system, right? Like, if pick a Universal movie, for example, like Dracula. Okay, Dracula is made from a certain point of view, and it does enshrine certain values about what the meaning of life is, um, how we should stand against evil, how evil seduces us, all this sort of stuff. Um, everything is political because everything is made from a point of view. But um, when we know that, we can assess that, right? And we can say, like, okay, I like this movie because of its political stance, because of its messaging. I don't like this movie because of its messaging. I or I can separate. So I didn't like this messaging, but I did like the aesthetic of it, or the cinematography, or whatever. Right? Liking old movies, I have to do a lot of that compartmentalization, right? Because there are older values, older points of view that I disagree with in those movies. Um, when those movies are overly patriotic for the United States, I disagree with that. When they, um, when they promote violence, they essentially, I disagree with that. When they present racist views, racist caricatures, stuff like that, I disagree with that. But I still enjoy the movie for other reasons, right? So I have to compartmentalize that. Um, what I find irksome with a lot of modern Hollywood is that they don't let you do that. The woke activists want to take it over so that only stuff that they agree with is produced. And you have to like it and you have to agree with it or you are a fascist. And that is so patronizing and insulting and infantilizing. and paternalistic. And from my perspective as a Canadian, that's also imperialistic. Like, I have a bunch of Americans telling me what I have to believe in my social context because that's what's important to them in their social context. Get out of here. Get out of here with that stuff. So, um, and then, yeah, that censoring of anything else, that whitewashing of everything else. Um, that sort of stuff I find objectionable and insulting. I'm a grown adult. I can choose what I want to watch. Thank you very much. And I can formulate my own opinions about it. Thank you very much. So, like, yeah, that's the bad part. It's not necessarily even having politics in a movie. It's just that trying to silence discourse around it and trying to censor everything else except for one particular political point of view. Um, that's the stuff I disagree with. And putting the politics in there at the expense of good writing, um, at the expense of universal human experiences and that sort of thing. Um, that I disagree with as well, because then that is propaganda, like what propaganda is. Right? Let's see. Where do we go before you got me off on that rant? I'm going to turn into the critical drinker here pretty soon. So. With theaters falling apart, it would be nice if they started playing older movies for cheaper prices. Correct, yes. Yep. If like our local theater chains were like actually for real playing like classic movie, like 1930s classic movies, not 1980s classic movies, like 1930s classic movies, like on a weekly basis or bi-weekly basis or whatever, like we'd be in the theater all the time. But they're leaving the money there. That said, whenever we did go to the showings, it was like us and one other guy. So I can understand why they would be like, it's not that profitable. We get a lot more money showing Gremlins than we do showing Casablanca. Movie theaters are so run down. Guess depends on when you go to. It usually says in the credits where a movie's filmed. Yeah, always look for the Quebec tax logo on there. Ticket prices are unaffordable now. Yeah, I luck out because my bank sponsors our national theater chain, and they have this deal worked out. It's called Scene, and so every time I buy something, like my credit card, whatever, I get Scene points that can be redeemed to see movies. So I haven't paid to see a movie in like a decade or something like that. Like it's which is good because a lot of them aren't worth the money. So, but yeah, I basically see movies for free because that's paid for by, well, I suppose in a roundabout way pay for it. It's my user fees, my service fees to the company, to the bank that pay for it. But so the concessions are insane. That's the insane part. I'll always buy a drink because, yeah. But we may or may not visit the dollar store before going to see a movie. Hollywood is not going anywhere anytime soon. Hollywood has been through worse and will go through worse in the future. It will just take some time. Yeah. Yeah. And as an institution, I kind of like hope so. I mean, I can't, I still have some of that romantic image of Hollywood and whatever, right? Golden age of Hollywood, that sort of thing. So it would be a shame for like all those studios and stuff to shutter. I still like, when the political situation simmers down, to go back to the United States and go to Hollywood and go visit the studios and go, actually check out the old RKO studios at the Paramount lot and stuff like that. I'd like to do that. So it would be a shame for them all to collapse. But I do want them to get their crap together. That's for sure, especially Disney, because that's the one that I have the most emotional attachment to. But movies are propaganda. It's fairly obvious why audiences are rejecting them. Yeah. We only go to the theaters when we have enough points at this point, and to get the most snacks from Dollarama beforehand. Otherwise, it's way too expensive. Yeah. That's why we don't go to the other theater chain, because I have to actually pay for those movies. Let's see. My local theater is doing relatively well, and Fathom Events here in the States frequently has anniversary showings, such as Back to the Future's 40th coming up. Yeah. Yeah, we had anniversaries for different movies. There's that going for it. So glad to hear about great theaters. The events are what make more fun too. Yeah, that they do, Bride. um, yeah, I still kick myself. Not too hard because it's like it involves if I knew then what I know now. But not flying to California to see that showing of Fantasia at the El Capitan Theater in January of 2020. We were saving money for our trip to Yosemite in June of 2020. That did not happen. If I knew then what I know now, we absolutely would have flown down to California and seen Fantasia in the El Capitan Theater and then had a weekend at Disneyland, and it would have been amazing. But hindsight. That's the reason my theaters are empty now. Movies have always been propaganda. You were either too young to notice, or you were more okay with what it's saying. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I said, I agree, Rex. Movies have always had a standpoint. Sometimes explicit propaganda, like you know, I watch movies from like the 30s and 40s movies, 40s Hollywood movies are wartime propaganda. Even Universal Monsters did it. The Invisible Agent, for example. Batman, the original Batman serial is him fighting Japanese saboteurs. Um, Movies have always been propaganda, or if not propaganda, at least they've always had a political standpoint. Um, but yeah, it's prioritizing the political messaging over the storytelling that makes it propaganda. When it's not about the art that just happens to be written from a standpoint, it's when the purpose of this thing is to coerce people into a certain point of view. That's when it becomes propaganda, when art is subordinate to the message. Yeah. Why would people pay money to see movies that they can watch at home? Yeah, I suppose. Well, I do. If it's a classic movie, and the reason being that it's a totally different experience, right? And a lot of what I like about old stuff is recapturing that experience of it. So, you know, being into the old monster stuff, right? Reading those old copies of Famous Monsters of Filmland. It's not because it's the most engaging in writing or whatever. The old Tales from the Crypt comics aren't necessarily the best comics I've ever read. But it's recapturing an experience that people used to have that I find interesting. And same with a lot of ways with Disney too, right? There's the one aspect where I go to Disneyland because I want to be in that world with Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, the Haunted Mansion, whatever. Let my imagination fly in that way. But there's another layer of it where it's like, here's this sort of quintessential American cultural experience that originated in the 50s, the era Walt Disney's cultural ascendance, when Walt was on TV every week, the Walt Disney Presents TV show, that sort of thing. And so there's some of that tapping into that I want to do as well, which is why it pains me when they renovate out of existence some of those original things. So the reason why I pay to see a movie that I already own is that there is a very big difference between watching Gone with the Wind on my TV and watching it in a movie theater. Like a huge difference. The screen size alone is hugely different. I love the movie going experience. There was that cheesy like Nicole Kidman commercial about how we sit in the dark and there's the experience and blah blah blah. As cheesy as it is, it's actually correct. That there is something about the experience of going out and going to a place and being in this darkened room where your attention is fully occupied by what's on the screen there, and it's literally larger than life. and especially if it's a properly communal experience as well. Like if the theater is full of jerks who are just being stupid and shouting chicken jockey and throwing popcorn everywhere, that certainly detracts from the experience. But if you're in there with other people who appreciate the thing, like, there's nobody going to Gone with the Wind who doesn't love Gone with the Wind. you know, there's no one going to see Casablanca who's going in blind. So to share this, have this shared experience with these other people, and there is also something um, really fantastic about it. And you're all oohing and awing and laughing and clapping at the same time and that sort of thing. Um, it's a slightly askew example, but we many years ago went to see Fantasia live in concert. Our local Philharmonic was doing the Fantasia live in concert show, where they show different segments from Fantasia with the live symphonic accompaniment. And Fantasia movie I have seen a million times. It is my favorite movie, but it was experiencing it a very different way, and not just because there was live music, but because there was a crowd there, and especially the screams and the cries of the children at the correct parts. Hearing them giggle at the funny parts, hearing them cry at the scary parts was just delicious. So there's that communal aspect to it as well. And in that case with Fantasia there, which the bride is giggling off the side here, is to also experience it in a different way through other people's eyes as well. Um, I've joked a number of times about how when I first took the bride to Disneyland and we went in the Haunted Mansion. Now, for me, the Haunted Mansion is a wonderful aesthetic experience because I am into all sorts of spooky crap. So I'm not scared by the Haunted Mansion. I think the Haunted Mansion is cool. But she is scared by the Haunted Mansion. She finds it like spooky and creepy and things are popping out at you and yeah, it's scary. So afterwards, and she's like, ooh, I'm just like, tell me all about it. Like I'm taking notes like, honey, tell me, what was it like to be scared by the Haunted Mansion? So it's to see that through somebody else's eyes as well, sharing in this communal experience, right? So that is why I am willing to pay money to go see a movie that I already own and I could watch at home, is because I want to have those experiences and see these movies the way they're meant to be seen as well. Fantasia wasn't meant to be seen on my TV. Casablanca, Gone with the Wind, Dracula, Frankenstein, King Kong, not meant to be watched on my phone, right? They were meant to be watched. They were designed for the context of the movie theater. In fact, a lot of these movies that I'm talking about were designed for an even different theater-going experience than we have today, where you would pay your nickel and you would go in for a full program of newsreels and cartoons and comedic shorts and B movies and the A-list movies. So even that whole, we're still not even getting that full theatrical experience you would have had in the 1930s. So Pretty wants to experience that as well. See these movies the way they were, at least closer to the way they were meant to be seen. That's why I so strongly regret not seeing Fantasia at the El Capitan. Not just because it was a chance to see my favorite movie on the big screen, but it's in Hollywood, in one of these classic Hollywood movie palaces, the El Capitan Theater, which is gorgeous. I would hope that when I am finally able to go back to Hollywood, go back to California, that it would coincide with something good showing at the Chinese theater. Because I've been in the Chinese theater, I've taken a tour of the Chinese theater, but I've never seen a movie in the Chinese theater. And it's very different from, just taking a tour of a building to to experiencing that building the way it's meant to be used, right? In this case, as a movie theater. So, I mean, my dream come true would be to see like King Kong in the Chinese theater, which would be a heck of a thing. Unlikely to happen somehow. But yeah, I want to see something there. I want to see something at the El Capitan, and I wish it was Fantasia. Um, because it's not even just that like, oh, a movie theater is the way it's meant to be seen. It's like, no, these were movie palaces. Back in the day, in the 1930s, the Great Depression and stuff like that, a movie theater was like this. At least a good one was like this Shangri-La. It was this other world. So many of them were even themed. Like you have the atmospheric theater mode, where the theater was designed to be um, like a Saharan village or like a Spanish village or something like that. And you have like the dome overhead to imitate the sky and that sort of thing. These were meant to be these like exotic, um, uh, sort of interesting, faraway experiences. Um, that a step away from the everyday, you go into this beautiful, again, Shangri-La sort of a place, and then get carried away by this movie to Skull Island and glamorous New York, Broadway, whatever, um, to escape from the doldrums of the Great Depression or what have you, World War II, um, for that hour or that afternoon or whatever. Um, that's the way these things were meant to be seen, not just as cool as this room is, not just sitting on the couch here. My screen is a little bit small. Um, if I had the space, like it's impossible to do with the way things are set up here presently, the way the house is laid out here. But if I had my parents' house, I know exactly which room I would use to actually make a home theater, like a proper home theater, and decorate it like it was one of these old movie palaces, um, with like that Rococo style and the movie posters and all that sort of stuff, just with comfier chairs, um, and and all that, just to try and simulate that experience at home, at least in some small way. But anywho, how was that for a 20-minute discussion? It's a Wonderful Life is coming around for a week in December, it looks like. Nice. I'll have to see if it's coming here. Um, Not that I don't think It's a Wonderful Life is not like the most depressing movie. I actually find Wonderful Life very depressing. But I've seen Canada listed in the credits of a lot of films. Correct. Yep. And TV shows. Yes. Yeah. Here's a pro tip to see if something's filmed in Canada. Play a guessing game. If the sort of the white balance is more in the blue range. You know how like Mexico, they joke about how like Mexico is always done like through a sepia filter to make it look like all yellow and dusty and everything. Movies filmed in Canada, because of the quality of the light we have here, are always kind of a bluish tone. So if you are watching a show and it's got kind of like this kind of cold bluish sort of subdued tone to it in terms of color quality, it's probably filmed in Canada, especially outside. As the bride just said. And then if you see a boom mic coming in, then it's definitely Canadian. But try and guess, like, hey, this is kind of depressing and cold and bluish. I wonder if it's Canadian. And then wait for the credits and see if it was filmed here. Quebecois Film Ministry is doing pretty well, which has been for a while. Yeah. I never go to the theater. I always stay at home. Well, fair enough. Where the heck? All right, choice. If they keep losing money like they're doing right now, they'll eventually go out of business. Yeah. Who's anything else? I feel sorry for movie theaters, actually, because their entire business hinges on this other business doing well. Hollywood has to make good movies so that the theaters can get people in. And so I feel, God, they gotta feel so helpless that Hollywood keeps making these crap movies nobody wants to watch, and they're stuck with them. And God, I feel so sorry for the theaters. The play's about to start. Happy Halloween, everyone. Okay, Rex. See ya. Movies told stories. Enjoy the play, Rex. Dressing up. It's cultural experience. Yeah. The story in today's movies is that white males are the source of all evil in the universe. Correct. Kind of feel that way. Today's movies are garbage. I really enjoy watching classics on the big screen. To have the same experience as folks watching Kong in 33 or Gone with the Wind in 39, you know? Yep, exactly. Exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, except that Gone with the Wind is all like, yeah, senior citizens and then us. Um, yeah. But fun fact, the intermission in Gone with the Wind is exactly long enough for me to go to the washroom, go wait in line, get a refill of my drink, and then go back to the theater. So, and more movies should have intermissions nowadays. Yeah, but no, exactly. Like, that's one of my like got a bucket list sort of items is to actually see King Kong on the big screen. To the point where I am half tempted to just rent the theater, um, one of these like one of the cheap theaters, like the $2 theater kind of thing. They do have a thing where you can rent the theater. If I could watch King Kong or Fantasia at the after renting out the cheap theater, I'm tempted. If it's affordable, I'm actually very tempted. I just like invite my friends and whoever the hell else is there shows up. Like, if you want to watch Fantasia, come on in. We're showing it anyway. But we'll see. Audiences today are so rude, and the theater staff usually doesn't do anything about it. That is correct. Yeah, um, we've lost a lot of decorum for how to behave in the theater as well. Um, we picked up a lot of bad habits in watching them at home, where we can just like surf on our phones and chit chat to each other and stuff while the movie's playing. And people carry that even to the actual theater instead of thinking into musical theater, especially musicals, because we're also trained to like, oh, music is background, so we can just talk during the singing in a musical. Oh my god. So yeah, that's the worst case scenario. um, but yeah, it's it is challenging. That is, the people can also be the worst part of the theater going experience. um, my bestie got us tickets to Casablanca a couple years ago. My number one favorite. But it's her first viewing. It's very cool to talk about it after. Nice. That's awesome. It's just to be able to introduce people to movies they haven't seen as well, like classic movies. Because I mean, so I'm not saying your friend does, but so many people have this impression of like old movies are kind of lame and whatever. To be able to like show it to them, introduce them, and see them get taken away and swept up with it is really nice. I worked in theater. I know that's mostly because they get crap from those types and have burned out from it. Yeah, Karens. Your staff doesn't get paid enough to risk their lives. Yeah. That's why Hollywood's dying. You have so many choices to watch at home. There's very little reason to go to theaters anymore. Well, fair enough. I get it. And I mean, I have like a pretty extensive movie collection of my own. Um, but again, it's there's something in the theater going experience that you can't get at home. So until uh, the bride lets me convert the garage into a theater or something. It's heated. The garage is heated. Mm. Or cars in the garage, fine. Um, yeah, it's just not. I still want theaters. Still want theaters. Every movie today has already been made. What is a movie you meant to watch again but haven't recently? Oh, there's one I was thinking about the other day. Can't remember. Man, we have to do the Halloween stuff. We got to do the Night of blah, blah, Legend of Sleepy Hollow, Night on Bald Mountain, all that sort of stuff. Tomorrow, at some point. Maybe after the trick or treating's done. Yeah. Um, God, what was it? What was I thinking of recently? I was kind of thinking of the Astaire and Rogers musicals. Watching one or two of those again. And I'm always up for Universal Monsters, of course. We've still got a list of movies we need to see too. We have, like the War Wagon with John Wayne. We need to watch that because I saw this at a friend's garage sale. I was like, the War Wagon, that's funny. There's War Wagons in Red Dead Redemption. And then I flip it over to read the back, and there's a picture of the War Wagon from Red Dead. I'm like, oh my god, there's a movie of this? Okay, we gotta watch this. No, we don't need intermissions. Yes, we do need intermissions, because I have to go to the bathroom. I have to go to the bathroom. That's why we need intermissions. Gotta turn down the volume here a little bit because I'm yelling. Okay. I am tired of missing parts of movies because I have to go to the bathroom. People would probably not finish watching the movie. It's unsafe to go to the theater now. It depends where you go. I'm in Canada. I'm fine. It's unsafe to go anywhere now. I'd love to see either Kong or Fantasia. Double feature! Bummer that your neck of Canada is kind of out of reach of my bank account. So, okay, is that what we need to do? Is for a few years, when I hit the big 5-0, I rent out the theater, and then all y'all come on down. I have like 28,000 subscribers, or 2,800 subscribers. 28,000 would be great. I have 2,800 subscribers, so if everybody came, I would just need a theater that could fit 2,000 people. So I'm not sure if we have a theater that big in Calgary even. But you guys are the diehards, so at least enough for you guys to fit in here, and Rex because he's a dinosaur. So, yeah, Kong and Fantasia double feature. Well, we'll see. We'll see about that. Yeah, and I mean that's far enough off that travel might be safe again, as well. No, I mean you guys can come up here. That's no problem. It's me going down there that's the problem. But One to Avoid is the recent remake of The Wolfman. It has nothing to do with the original. Yeah, The Wolfman and The Invisible Man are just name makes. They just took the name of another movie and just made their own movie with it. So, which I do not care for, especially because then in the the Universal Monster groups and stuff like that, you get people posting about these movies, and it's like these aren't Universal Monster movies. These aren't the movies that we love. These aren't the classics. These are just a movie with the name slapped on it. Stop talking about this crap. Get it out of here. We're here for the classic monsters. So, but The Invisible Man, they're not even trying anymore. Yep, that is true. That is true. Well, I think, what's the next one? I think Bride of Frankenstein is supposed to be the next one. Well, Frankenstein is the Guillermo del Toro one. That just came out. I think the next Blumhouse, because Blumhouse is the one making these name makes of the Universal Monster ones. I think their next one is Bride of Frankenstein, if I remember correctly. That or I know they're going to try The Mummy again, because we need another Mummy movie apparently. It's to wash out the taste from the last one. I don't know if it'd be a period piece though. It probably would be a modern one, because Blumhouse doesn't really do period pieces. They're just sort of like cheapo modern horror kind of stuff. So yeah. At least the new Frankenstein looks interesting, yeah. I mean, it's Guillermo del Toro, so that comes is what it is. I have not seen any reviews of it recently, except for a friend of mine, whose opinion I trust the most. But all he really said, he said he enjoyed it. He said that halfway through, it kind of stops following the book, and it's just sort of its own thing called Frankenstein. And it's Guillermo del Toro, so it's sort of like monster is a superhero kind of thing. Sympathy for the monster. We also said, the original Frankenstein also didn't follow the book very closely either. So, Ever see The Bride, starring Sting, Robert De Niro, and Jennifer Beals? I have not seen that one. But having Jennifer Beals in it certainly makes it an interesting one to put on my list. Hollywood saves period costume dramas for shows like Bridgerton. Yes, we need the Bridgerton version of Frankenstein. That scream was The Bride. She does not like the Bridgerton costumes very much.
I like them.
Okay, you like them, but what?
They're not remotely historical.
They are not remotely historical. Well, neither is Bridgerton, so there you go. Bridgerton is like a generic fantasy version of Jane Austen.
Yeah.
But without nearly enough airships. They might as well go all the way. It looks like it's closer to the Mary Shelley version. Oh, interesting. My thoughts exactly, Bride. Doug agrees with you. You're grown.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah. I did not catch the Bridgerton bug myself. So I like Jane Austen well enough. I do think there is an unfortunate lack of airships and robot butlers in them, but
I do think I have to post-script this.
Oh, the ride's coming in.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
I do have to post-script it that I did enjoy Bridgerton, but I did not enjoy that that people of this day now think that is Regency.
Yeah.
That drives me nuts because it's no, that's not Regency. They did not have these beautifully sequined gowns in the Regency period. Thank you.
Yeah, it's like the Michael's Jane Austen section now. Yeah. The Bridgerton section.
I mean, I love it, but I also hate it.
Yeah. So there you go. Yeah, right from the bride's own mouth, right there. Temu Jane Austen. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like the classic Pride and Prejudice with Colin Firth and Jennifer Ely is great. Love it. I wish Pride and Prejudice and Zombies was more like that. Instead of trying to make it like a serious action movie, they should have made it like a BBC adaptation, but with like a zombie in the background. Still not enough airships though. Persuasion with what's her face? Sally Hawkins. That's a good one. The new Emma with Anya Taylor-Joy is really good. Was there another one recently that I liked? Oh, the one with vampire chick. Oh, I can't remember her name. Gorgeous vampire chick who looks like a skeleton now.
What?
Chat, help me out here. Underworld Van Helsing.
Oh. It's based off Lady Susan.
Yeah, Lady Susan is the movie. Or Love and Friendship is the name of the movie.
Yes, she's Kate Beckinsale.
Kate Beckinsale, thank you. Yes. Sorry. How is that description? Gorgeous vampire who looks like a skeleton now. Oh, it's a shame what happened to her. Hollywood fucks you up, man. Yeah, I like Jane Austen well enough. Needs more airships, but otherwise it's fine. But Bridgerton, I did not catch the bug for that one. Yes, Bridgerton is like Austen Land. But not as funny. But no, like, Bridgerton is like if you were in Austen Land and not seeing behind the scenes of Austen Land. Okay, in the chat, who has seen Austen Land? It is hilarious. Austen Land is a movie about this young lady played by Carrie Russell, who is disaffected with her life, and she is a huge Jane Austen nerd. So she goes to England to this terrible Jane Austen theme park, run by Jane Seymour. And um, now, because she's not rich, she can't afford the full platinum package. So she gets like the crappy package. So she ends up. I'm not giving spoilers. She ends up hanging out a lot with the groundskeeper, who is played by Brett McKenzie from Flight of the Conchords. And hilarity ensues. But anyways, it's like this god awful Jane Austen theme park experience thing, which is like, it's all of these like super saturated colors and these terrible costumes, and nobody is acting properly. They're all acting like these over the top straw man kind of stereotypes of what people think Jane Austen's like. And sort of general broader Regency kind of thing. That's Bridgerton. Bridgerton is Austenland, just without the behind the scenes part. It's like if you were watching people in Austenland. That's what Bridgerton is. Without the stuffed peacocks, yeah. But anyways, if you get a chance to see Austenland, you should watch Austenland. It is hilarious. It's that movie and Midnight in Paris, actually, kind of came out around the same time-ish, and both address these themes of like trying to escape into nostalgia in their different ways. And sort of Austenland is like the bride's one, and Midnight in Paris is my one. But yeah, they're great movies, and Austenland's hilarious. So it's well worth seeing if you get the chance to see Austenland. I had a Bridgerton inflicted on me by my roommate. Oh no. Oh no. I like The Bride, great movie. Nice. I remember Clancy Brown played the monster. Oh, that makes sense. Kurgan from Highlander, Kate Beckinsale, thank you. I love the Underworld franchise. Sure. Burgerall. That was Clancy Brown? I always thought it was De Niro. Stupid Mandela effect. De Niro played the Frankenstein monster in the Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, directed by Kenneth Branagh. Yeah. Which somebody else said in the chat. So there we go. Perfect. It's also in Van Helsing. Yeah, De Niro was Kenneth Branagh Frankenstein. Kind of like that one. Definitely one of the better adaptations. Yeah, I liked Kenneth Branagh Frankenstein. I also like the Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula. Like they're obviously adaptations. They make changes, but as far as it goes, I thought they were both pretty good. I haven't seen the Frankenstein one in forever, though. I don't own a copy of that one. I do own Dracula, but not Frankenstein. You've never seen Kenneth Branagh's Frankenstein? Well, I guess we'll have to watch it sometime. Yeah. It's gotta be on some streaming service somewhere. Otherwise, I'll have to just pick up a copy at like secondhand store. Yes. Yeah. Now we're the bride got down here, and now she's dominating the conversation while she's off playing Red Dead in the corner here. While the Halloween update is still active. Maybe I gotta play it afterwards. I like Brandis Frankenstein as well, such frenetic energy throughout. Dracula looked like John Lennon. That's the glasses. I thought it was a good adaptation of Dracula. And one thing I find interesting about it is how the very nature of how Dracula was envisioned prevented Gary Oldman from being typecast as it, because Dracula keeps changing form throughout and touches like all of the different like vampire archetypes in there. So he's got like the Nosferatu style vampire. He's got the romantic style vampire, animalistic sort of vampire. Yeah, and created some new iconography as well, like Old Man Dracula. I mostly like Coppola's Dracula well enough, but it was a bit much. I can see that. Um, I actually, even though it's a bit morally confused, I did like that it was a redemption story as well. I don't need Dracula to be a redemption story. Dracula just as a fiend from the pit trying to seduce humans into the undead armies of Satan is fine. But as a Christian, I find redemption stories rather potent, and uh, turning Dracula into one was, I think, powerful. Still feel sorry for Harker getting cucked there, but poor guy. But how do you go back to domestic life after that? But I guess is the premise for Leave Extraordinary Gentlemen. but um, but yeah, it was a lot though. A lot of blood. A lot of vats of blood in that one. It is intense. But, and excellent cinematography in it as well. Beautiful costume, cinematography, visually stunning movie. Yeah. So there we go. All right, where are we at here? Let's see. Oh, almost 2 hours. Which is a respectable amount of time. We doing this thing here? Did you just die?
Yeah.
Oh, you just died. That'd do it. If I could hook up the Xbox here and do playthroughs, do gaming videos, I don't know. Should I? But mostly fun for Halloween, just doing the Red Dead Halloween updates. But there's also a very faithful adaptation of Dracula starring Louis Jourdan. Oh. Did I know about that one? I don't think I did. Well, thanks, Queen. I'll have to look that one up. I admittedly have not seen the the 70s one with what's his face. God, terrible with names tonight. 70s Dracula starring a guy who also played Skeletor in the live action He-Man movie. Why can I not remember that? It's because it is like 9 o'clock. That is why. No, that's the new one. I want the old one. I don't remember the exact date of the old one. No, I was looking for He-Man. Live action 1987. There we go. I am really tired. Thank you very much. I'm existentially exhausted. Frank Langella. There we go. Crying out loud. Oh, and Queen had it in the chat. Frank Langella Dracula. I have actually not seen that one either. Arcane for the Swamp Thing. I did enjoy the origin story at the beginning of Dracula. Watching Ullman chew up the entire set as Vlad Tepes was really gorgeous. That was pretty good. Frank Langella. Dolph Lundgren as He-Man, yes. Oh no, hey, we're getting a new He-Man movie. New live-action He-Man movie. Part of which takes place on Earth, because that's exactly what He-Man fans are into. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Earth. Why would you want to see a live-action movie of this incredible fantasy world of Eternia? With all of the strange creatures and fantastic environments and stuff like that, when you could have He-Man on Earth. Yeah. He was great as Dracula. Okay. Yeah. Maybe. I'm not a big fan of 70s movies, so it might be part of the reason why I haven't seen the 70s Dracula. Excellent Skeletor as well. For a low-key remake of Star Wars, yeah, it was okay. it they gave the live-action He-Man an interesting aesthetic, which I can appreciate. How do you translate this cartoon and this toy line into a live-action show? Um, but again, it's sort of like I didn't want to see anything on Earth. Like I don't care about Earth. I want to see He-Man on Eternia punching people into orbit. To be fair, we haven't seen the new He-Man yet. That is true. That is true. It could surprise me. It could be absolutely incredible, which I doubt. But we'll see. We'll see what the trailers look like and what the reviews sound like and stuff like that. I'm not planning on seeing it, so um, even though I did grow up with He-Man, and I do have some He-Man toys over in the studio, but it's not what I'm chomping at the bit to see. Well, oh, dead air. All right, engaging, engaging live stream material. Come on, chat, get on it. Give me something. Give me stuff to work with. Oh well, at least I'm not charging money for this. So could be worse. Could be like some other live streamers that I've seen that like will not say anything unless somebody sends a super chat or something. Oh yeah, yeah, like Carpetbagger. He will not say nothing unless you pay him. I like his content mostly, but yeah, he will just sit there and like stare at the screen and like eat, unless you pay a super chat. Let's see. The skeleton Master Universe was surprisingly dark. Yep. Yeah, that was well, it's 80s, right? So the 80s dark age did that to a lot of things. You think of like um pretty much any show like that had the tone of like the black hole. Keep looking that way because that's where the bride is. um but yeah, that sort of like dark, slightly bleak sort of tone. That's realistic. So yeah, Masters was surprisingly dark. If I want a film adaptation of an 80s cartoon, Fantasy Earth, I'll pay for Thundar, the Barbarian. Yes. Sure. I mean, there's lots of stuff that could make good movies or new TV shows, stuff like that. But it would just be a matter of like it being in the right hands. And that's the question. What hands would they go into? I am, bless you. I am interested in this new cartoon they've been talking about based on the Energon Universe comics. So I've done a review of them, in case you haven't watched it. The Energon Universe is by Skybound Entertainment. It's a comic universe that is an interweaving storyline involving Transformers, G.I. Joe. They've introduced characters from Mask into it, and their own original stuff as well. And it's instead of my review of it, it's like a respectful maturing of the original material. So it's in fact a lot of the early issues of the Transformers comic were adaptations of the original cartoon, but just done for an adult audience. And like an actually adult audience, not like, ooh, it's all edgy and they're swearing and stuff. Which is like a child's idea of adult, but like more mature storytelling and more mature, more nuance in it, more maturity in its character and stuff like that. And it's really good. The comics are really good, and now they're making a cartoon based on it. So I'm looking forward to that. See how that turns out. Um, I mean, a Transformers movie. That first 5 minutes of Bumblebee was the best live action Transformers. Um, GI Joe. is a bit of a landmine right now to try and do that because it's all about America. Um, yeah, the Gem live action is how do you mess that up? Because Gem is a license to print money. Some girl, some just mid girl who hits her little hologram thing and becomes like a rock superstar, becomes Taylor Swift. Like, come on, that's a license to print money. How they could not figure out Gem is like that is the saddest indictment of Hollywood and Hasbro Entertainment Division. Um, but what else? Visionaries could be an interesting thing if you really played up the mythic themes of it and sort of the idea of like societal collapse at the end of this age of technology and then them just sort of discovering the age of magic. Like the first movie would have to end with them becoming the visionaries, and then further sequels would develop that whole idea of magic and stuff like that. Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future is still a pretty solid cyberpunk storyline. So, but yeah, one of the weird things I find with 80s stuff is that like my generation grew up with this stuff. These characters are like our epic mythic storytelling. Transformers, G.I. Joe, He-Man, Thundercats, what have you. Thunder Meow Meows, as the bride calls them. But at the same time, they were just glorified toy commercials. So there's still an aspect at which, like, for us, they're like such this big deal, and they can be given these mythic overtones. But there's like Epic of Gilgamesh and He-Man. Like it's not really like it's sort of like this like Temu version of actual mythology. So I don't know, but the Lost Battle Cat, King and Queen Orko at the beginning of the movie. Yeah, it like starts in the middle of a story. It does. Yeah, yeah. The old live action He-Man. Yeah. Well, that's because they were building on the idea that you already know all this stuff. You already know these characters, and they're taking like the next step with them, which I can appreciate. It's just that world is so different, right? Skeletor with all of his stormtroopers and stuff, that it eases into that a little bit better. Because that world is so different from like the He-Man cartoon, right? Especially, I was even thinking about this when I was, as I've been picking up some of the Masterverse He-Man figures, that I only pick up like key characters. I don't want to get the whole line. And I was actually thinking about getting some of like the Horde Trooper as like troop builders. I had a Horde Trooper and then I stupidly broke it. But getting some of the Horde Troopers as like a troop builder, because like Skeletor is the guy that has like funky henchmen, whereas Hordak is the guy that has like this um, generic army. So Hordak, yeah, he's got henchmen, but he's mostly got like the Horde troopers. Whereas Skeletor, like they've given him troopers, but he doesn't. Skeletor's not a trooper guy. Skeletor is like a henchman guy. So I don't know. Anyways, not that that really matters. But I suppose someday I'll have to do a video of my He-Man figures. The story: Antila and Man-at-Arms know that Adam is really He-Man. Yep. Do we want Team America Part 2? Might be time for that. Someone needs to make a prequel to the first He-Man. I love Captain Power. I remember the toys were interactive. Yeah, I had all the toys. I had the Captain Power toys. I was like the only kid that did too. And I was like, I watched that show religiously because you could shoot the TV with your plane and stuff like that. Love Captain Power, and it's still like a solid cyberpunk story of civilization being lost to the Biodread empire of machines. The Machine Wars, where man fought machine and machine won. Kind of like Terminator. And then the machines digitizing humans and stuff. Yeah. And the toys interacting with the TV, which they can't do anymore because TVs don't work the same way. But there's a new version of Power Rangers in development. Sure. Voltron is in production as well. More remakes. Yeah, I'm not sure you could do a remake. Well, I mean, they've already tried a remake of Power Rangers, and that didn't really go anywhere. Because part of the charm of Power Rangers is that it's just Super Sentai, but Americanized. So you kind of have to have like the Japanese Super Sentai thing to clip the footage from. Doing an all-American remake is kind of like, eh. Maybe remember Photon? I do, but Laser Tag was more the original deal. Photon always felt like a knockoff of Laser Tag. Plus, Laser Tag had cooler stuff. The helmet and stuff looked cooler. But I guess that's where I was. And Nintendo versus Sega, I was Nintendo, and Laser Tag versus Photon, I was Laser Tag. The light shine forever. Nice. I don't have too much 80s stuff. I get a little bit of nostalgia. It's mainly the Transformers stuff that I got, reading the Energon Universe stuff, a couple He-Man figures, and watch like some He-Man related videos and stuff like that. The one thing I have not felt any nostalgia for is Ninja Turtles. For me, Ninja Turtles was like the end of the 80s, beginning of the 90s. Ninja Turtles like killed everything else. Ninja Turtles killed Transformers, killed G.I. Joe, killed He-Man, all that stuff. You could play laser tag with the Photon figures. Yeah. Gem, with nostalgia for that one too. If they ever make a Gem G.I. Joe classified figure, I'm totally getting it. And then the bride will take it. It's like, I'm the Gem fan, not you. Like, I'm a Gem fan too. I watched Gem.
Yeah, but did you have a tape?
I didn't have the tape, no.
Got to sing along to the 3 songs on the tape?
I didn't get to sing along to the 3 songs on the tape, no. But I did watch the cartoon religiously.
You probably remember more.
Yeah. I can even rank the girls by hotness.
Well, that's a different perspective.
Isn't Michael Bay coming back to the Transformers franchise? Doesn't matter. I don't know. I watched the first Michael Bay Transformers, and that was enough. So, he could come back to it. I don't really care. I'm not planning on watching them now. So, oh, did you get killed again? You did. He can do what he wants. The movie Transformers are a different Transformers than the ones I grew up with. So that's fine. I'm not like a irredeemable G1er in that like, oh, any other Transformer sucks except G1. Like, no, those other Transformers are fine, just not my Transformers. My Transformers happens to be G1, bit of animated, bit of Energon Universe. But other people can have their Transformers, that's okay. I bought the bride a Rat Trap figure, the one that came out with the Earthrise toy line, and said I was going to customize it to make Rattachip from Narnia, but never got around to it. Oh, sorry, Reepicheep. He'd be Rattachip if, yeah, I turned Rat Trap into him. Can't be any worse than what's been done with the Transformers lately. Yeah. Well, I hear Bumblebee was all right. Like I haven't seen the whole Bumblebee movie, so I don't know. I don't know. Live action Transformers doesn't do it for me. If they had hewn closer to the original in terms of the aesthetic and the storyline and stuff like that, I might have watched them. But Michael Bay thought Transformers was lame, so he changed Transformers to what he wanted, and that in the process made it not what the Transformers that I knew. So. And I don't know, Optimus Prime as like this total violent psychopath doesn't really appeal to me. What about the Macross saga? Oh, Doug! Oh, sorry, I just slammed the microphone there. I freaking love Macross. He does. And Macross is on, well, except for the original series, every other Macross series is on Disney Plus, which was quite the surprise. Yeah, I freaking love Macross. I don't think you could make a movie out of it though, because part of the appeal of Macross is the long form storytelling, and part of it is the Japaneseness of it. Like, I don't think you could do an American Macross movie and have it have the same, like, it's like doing an American Godzilla movie. Like, what about MonsterVerse? Well, I don't really consider MonsterVerse like proper Godzilla. So, it's Godzilla with an asterisk. Um, so like a Macross, American Macross movie wouldn't be appealing to me. Um, a Japanese one maybe, but it's also like, well, when we've got the series is amazing. So, and we've got Macross Plus, which is amazing, and Macross Frontier, which is great, and Macross Delta, which is okay. It's passable. Macross Delta is passable. Macross Zero was all right. It was passable. I did not like Macross 7. That's the only one I don't like. Did she G.I. Joe in the last Transformers movie? Yep. Sounds like a terrible idea. um, Macross would be a very ambitious production to take on. Yes, it would. Yes, it would. Yeah, G.I. Joe in Transformers in like Bayverse movies would be terrible. In the Energon universe is fantastic. It works so well because they use the Energon as the rationale for why GI Joe and Cobra have the technology they do, and that's also going to explain why Mask has the technology that they do, um, which I think is pretty ingenious. So, plus the comics are just really good. So, GI Joe Transformers crossover in the Energon universe, great. In the Bayverse, yeah, probably bad. Also known as Robotech. Yeah, Robotech is kind of the bastardization of Macross. I grew up with Robotech. I'm of the Robotech generation. Right? You can always tell, um, like people who are into anime got into it in different generations. Right? There's the Astro Boy generation, the Robotech generation, the Sailor Moon generation, the Dragon Ball generation, um, Pokemon generation. I'm in the Robotech generation. So I grew up with Robotech, and I still, in the back of my mind, think of the like Hikaru is still Rick Hunter in my back of my mind. Um, but the actual full Macross franchise is so much broader and deeper than Robotech is. Um, Macross is amazing, and if you haven't seen any Macross stuff, do so. Um, you first have to watch the SDF Macross series, Super Dimension Fortress Macross, which isn't on Disney Plus. But once you've seen that, then get your Disney Plus subscription and watch the rest of it. It's fantastic. My favorites are the original series, Super Dimension Fortress Macross, the movie version of Macross Plus. The OVA version of Macross Plus is it's got some pacing problems. The movie version of Macross Plus is freaking brilliant. And then Macross Frontier. That's sort of to me like the essential stuff to watch. Um, it helps to understand Macross Frontier if you watch Macross Zero. Um, yeah, and then Macross Delta is sort of there, and Macross 7, which I didn't like. If you are into anime like Slayers, stuff like that, you would probably like Macross 7. It's kind of very similar kind of comedy. Um, Macross 7 was sort of like the Slayers esque anime, whereas Macross Plus was more like the Ghost in the Shell anime. So, um, got a live action Japanese space battle cruiser Yamato, and man, it really was not good. I've seen it, it was okay. Um, it's not like the same as the series, for sure. Yeah. And Bride mentions live action Sailor Moon. Japanese Yamato was a bit on the forgettable side. Yeah, it was definitely forgettable, for sure. There was also a TV movie based on Gundam. Really? Hmm. Made in Canada? What? Canadian Gundam TV movie? Interesting. Unexpected, certainly, yes. Have to seek that one out. One thing that I have in my mind for how I would do it is a Galaxy Express 3.9 live action trilogy. But no one's going to make that because it's in my head. So I just have to content myself with it being in my head. But part of the problem, though, is that Galaxy Express 3.9, which is my favorite anime, is better as this like long drawn out character drama rather than this really compressed space opera. So Yamato didn't get any sequels. Yeah. That makes sense. What's a Gundam, eh? Oh, look at that Gundam there, eh? It's a beauty. Oh, yeah, eh? Oh, take off, hoser. Maybe a version based on Star Blazers would work? Yeah, maybe. That's the thing. At this point, I don't know who would know it as Star Blazers more so than Space Battleship Yamato, because both are kind of obscure, even among anime fans at this point. So, plus, I mean, Galaxy Express 3.9 is like only known in Japan. So, but anywho's, oh, we're verging on 2.5 hours here. We're off to outer space. To outer space. Take off, you hosers. $10 is $10, eh? Can we quote most of the Bob and Doug McKenzie record? Possibly. Yep, right in the chat.
Every time I start singing 12 Days of Christmas,
it always becomes the Bob and Doug version. I was just saying, you couldn't hear her. Every time we start singing the 12 Days of Christmas, it turns into the Bob and Doug version. On the first day of Christmas, true love gave to me beer.
in a tree.
No, that only comes in later on. Yeah. Second day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 2 turtlenecks and a beer. Feels like something missing, eh? Just because in the space of just 1 year. Hey, that was the hit single part of the album, remember? Yep. Oh, Bob and Doug.
Rick Moranis is coming back.
Rick Moranis? Oh, yeah.
He's coming back for Spaceballs 2.
Oh, yeah. Rick Moranis for Spaceballs 2. Yeah. 5 golden toques. 4 French toast. No, it's 3 French toasts.
Yeah.
4. What's 4? It's a beer, 2 turtlenecks, 3 French toasts. Oh. Fifth is 5 golden toques. No, 4 slices of back bacon. Yeah. 3 French toast, 2 turtlenecks, and a beer in a tree. It goes off the rail after the time. Yep. We're getting ahead of ourselves, though. That's Christmas content. The heck? Oh, 4 pounds of back bacon. Yes, thank you. Yes, not slices, pounds. 4 pounds of back bacon.
Yeah, apparently Rick Moranis took the way to raise his kids after his wife died.
Yes, yeah, I knew that part.
He's coming back from Spaceballs 2. So is Mel Brooks. I forget who's being Bart's son.
Isn't it actually John Candy's kid is playing Bart's son? In the new Spaceballs?
Kind of excited.
Let's see. Spaceballs 2 cast. Uh, let's see. Lewis Pullman is Stardust. That's funny. Bill Pullman's kid. He's playing his kid. Josh Gad is in it. Is he playing Barf? Or Barf's pup? Yeah. Whatever. I guess we'll find out. No promises. I can make November or December streams, so I got to get my Exos content in now. Fair enough, Doug. Star Blazers versus Battlestar Galactica. Who wins? Oh, I don't know that one. I'm gonna go with Star Blazers just because Leiji Matsumoto. Wave motion gun for the win. Sure. Well, I think I'm actually starting to hit the wall a little bit here, guys. So we might have to wind this down. As much as I'm appreciating the anime talk now. I'm going to pick that up for November, even if Doug can't be here. We'll see what dates work out. Pick up the anime discussion then. Have the Christmas party in December, as per usual, which is just this, but with Christmas trees, I guess, or whatever. But thank you very much, everyone, for joining me here for the annual Halloween haunt, which is just the live stream with Halloween decorations. It was a lot of fun as usual, and we'll see you again here next month, and so on. Oh, I guess I gotta show like the. Let's see, where's the? Woo! There we go. Oh no, that's the actual intro. Next live stream was that one. Well, that one if I get the studio the way I want it. Otherwise, it'll be that again. Probably be that because it's nice to be here in the tiki room. The Kong's behind me. But yeah, no, thank you very much, everyone, for joining this evening. And happy Halloween. Stay safe. Eat lots of candy. And hope you survive the night. Woo! Oh, you're working U.S. Thanksgiving November 28th. All right, so I'll try not to do it on the 28th then. So, all right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night and have a happy Halloween.